Hey, True Believers, England Teen here with another episode of Comic Book Origins. For those of you who are new, Comic Book Origins is a video series I do where we basically look at the very first appearance of any character, any team, any item. And this time around, we are looking at the Winter Soldier, thanks to Christy Miller for commissioning this video, where she said exactly this: Bucky, Winter Soldier, the origin of... And I thought, yeah, that's actually two different books. But this is doable. I think we can actually work in the story. We can actually work the narrative of the Winter Soldier from Bucky until he first appears as the Winter Soldier in Captain America Volume 5. I gotta say, though, man, I love this movie. This is my favorite of the Marvel MCU films. Yeah, unless you put Infinity War and Endgame together and then, you know, the collective. Anyway... obviously, Winter Soldier was an excellent story written by Ed Brubaker, so we're going to be touching upon that as well. And as I said before, this video was commissioned by Christy Miller. I'd like to thank her very much. And if you want to commission a video yourself, just go on over to Ko-Fi and commission your own video. We've got quite a few categories, like Bad Comic Beatdown. If you've got a bad comic book or Really That Bad, which is a bad storyline you would like another look at, we could make fun of or just find out, really, does it deserve the bad reputation it has? Comic book origins like this one, or Comic Books Were Better, which is my top 10 list, counting down all sorts of reasons why comic books of the past are better than modern day comics. And there's a specific category if you would like to bring up a minority character or Really That Good, which is just the opposite of Really That Bad. Hey, Secret Wars is supposed to be good. Let's see if it really earned that reputation. Once again, just go on over to Ko-Fi. Links in the description below. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done this for us. There's been quite a few. It's a lot of fun to do. And with all that aside, let's get on with the first appearance of Bucky, Captain America Comics, #1. Like always, first thing we do is take a look at the cover, and this is iconic. I mean, come on, yeah, look at this. We've got a guy in the back with some sort of not Nazi symbol on his arm, looking at television where some Germans are bombing a U.S. munitions dump. You've got some guy shooting Captain America right in the shield, and two other guys who seem to be actually hitting Captain America, or their bullets are just disappearing between where they're firing, because they don't hit the wall or anything. They don't fly past them. We're announced Bucky, of course, and he's redhead here, and Captain America punching out the Hitler, while another soldier just kind of looks on. That's it. I do like the fact that they included the bars bent out, but there's no way that Captain America jumped through that window and punched that guy at that angle. Just saying. Alrighty, that's all I have to say about this. I mean, come on. It is one of the most iconic and greatest covers of any comic book ever. Okay, considering the first appearance of Bucky is also the first appearance of Captain America, I'm not going to go over too much here. We're going to focus on the Winter Soldier, but I do want to touch upon at least how we are introduced to Bucky. The very first page, he's right there waving along with, or right behind Captain America anyway, and it says, "As the ruthless warmongers of Europe focus their eyes on a peace-loving America, the youth of our country heed the call to arm for defense. But great as the danger of foreign attack is, the threat of invasion from within, the dreaded fifth column. It was easy joining the army with forged papers, now to carry out Führer's plans. Yes, everything is in readiness," and we see the American munitions dump, or American Munitions Inc., as it says in the back. And the next few pages is the destruction of that munitions plant, and then, of course, the creation of Captain America, which, like I said, we'll get to at some point eventually. Let's get to the part where we are introduced to Bucky. And that happens right after Captain America's first battle, after he gets his super soldier serum. Who is Captain America? A whole nation thrills to his daring exploits. His name becomes a symbol of our age to millions of Americans, and by word of terror in the shadow world of spies. At Camp Leahy of the United States Army, Bucky Barnes, mascot of the regiment, approaches Private Steve Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, the first real appearance of Bucky Barnes. "Oh, Steve, look at the Captain America has done it again. Boy, how I'd like to meet that guy. I wish I could be like him." "Maybe you can, Bucky. Maybe you can." That same night when Bucky visits Steve's tent, he makes a startling discovery. "Hello, Steve. I came down to... What? You're Captain America? You little rascal, I ought to tan your hide. I guess you got me dead to rights. I am Captain America. Gosh, gee whiz, golly, I never thought. From now on, we must both share this secret together. That means you're my partner, Bucky. And so Bucky's dreams fulfilled as he fights side by side with Captain America against the vicious elements who seek to overthrow the U.S. government. So there you go, gang. That is the first appearance of Bucky. Now, you can't have Winter Soldier without Bucky being dead or presumed dead. But guess what? He was actually dead. He was killed. He was absolutely freaking killed in Captain America comics. In issue number 66, you can see it right here on the cover, but we're going to be taking a look at the pages, and I will explain. I don't know about everything, but as much as you need to know. It happens when Captain America and Bucky are after a criminal named Lavender. "Shoot straight, you fools," she says as her men shoot at Captain America, hitting the shield. Captain America and Bucky jump towards her. "Didn't you hear the lady?" Bucky socks, literally socks, that's what it says, one of the criminals. "That's no lady, Cap. That was the boss, Lavender. We've been trailing her gang for a long time." "What a pity," she says. "It seems I have to do everything myself, including my own killing." Blam! And kills Bucky. Captain America ignores Lavender as she makes her escape. He carries Bucky's body to the hospital and says that the doctor said there was no hope, but they will try to operate anyway. And there you go. That's the death of Bucky. At least it was the original death. See, Stan Lee wanted to use Captain America in modern-day Marvel, so in Avengers number 4, he brought Captain America back. But there was a little problem with the way the last one ended. So what it ended up being is they retroactively made the Captain America and the Bucky who showed back up in 1953, the Bucky who got shot and apparently survived, was a replacement by Harry S. Truman in the 1950s. And this is where we get the drone. It's an explosive-filled drone that Captain America and Bucky both try to stop. Bucky's closer to it. He makes the leap. Captain America doesn't and falls into the drink where he ends up being frozen until, of course, Namor finds him and then the Avengers thaw him out. Bucky, on the other hand, is perceived to have died when the plane exploded. And this is actually expanded in Avengers number 56, Death Be Not Proud, where we see kind of a fuller version of the death of Bucky. This time they're in costume. This time Bucky is in full-on costume, so is Captain America. They're not wearing the brown uni. In this issue, the Avengers are fighting Baron Zemo in 2 different times. At some points, they even go back in time where Captain America and Bucky are fighting Baron Zemo. And at one point, they've got Captain America and they've got Bucky unconscious, and Baron Zemo ties him to a spy plane to send him to Germany. But at a certain point, Captain America finds himself solid in the past, so he figures if he throws his shield to help get Steve Rogers and Bucky off the plane, they can help, and that's what sends them after the rocket. As we know, Bucky makes the leap. Steve Rogers doesn't. He goes into the drink, and Bucky dies all over again, causing, of course, Captain America to grieve once more. And, of course, this was canon for decades. That is until Captain America Volume 5, Number 1, Out of Time, Part 1, where the book opens 5 years ago. Okay, so the Red Skull is meeting with an arms dealer, and they caught the Red Guardian, who is there to arrest said arms dealer. It doesn't go too well for them, and they end up shooting the Red Guardian dead. Then we find out he's a general, the arms dealer, and he steps into a warehouse. We notice that the items there are weird. At one point, Red Skull picks up a gun, asks what is this exactly, and he's told that it supposedly opens portals into something called the negative zone. So these aren't normal weapons that the Red Skull's about to buy. And he's looking around. He says, "Is all this for sale?" He says, "Some is, some isn't." And they walk across a tube, or they come across a tube with a guy in it. Ladies and gentlemen, the first appearance of the Winter Soldier, but no, I'm not stopping here. We're going to go on a little bit. And he says, "Is this what I think it is?" And he says, "Yeah, but that one's not for sale. I have plans for this one." Then the general says, "Unless you want to trade me for a cosmic cube." But the Red Skull says at this point in time he doesn't have it, and if he did, he wouldn't trade it because, you know, when he does find the cube, the world will know fear. Cut to modern day where the Red Skull does have the cosmic cube, and he's like, oh, they will know my plans, which I'm thinking, if you've got the cube, just do something with it right then and there, right? And we kind of get a look into what really is the biggest flaw as far as Red Skull's thinking. He's got the cosmic cube, and he still thinks, oh, Captain America, I'm gonna get you. And while we still see Captain America, we're getting the thought bubbles from Red Skull, and he's like, I've got you under watch because I know what everything you've been through, and I know what the loss of people you care for really does to you, and you'll never see me coming. And then we show Steve Rogers as he's basically reminiscing about his time as a soldier, an Avenger, and of course losing people he loved. But we see what's really going on as Captain America is doing his workout. Sharon Carter's there saying, hey, look, I'm worried about you. I know S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't, and you need a psych evaluation. Just take what happened last week. And he goes, last week? Those guys were terrorists. They killed the conductor. They had the train filled with explosives. They were going to turn it into a dirty bomb and wipe out Coney Island. So in an awesome display of sequential art storytelling, we see Captain America take down not only a helicopter, but we also see him take down all of the tourists right to the point where there's only one left and he's hanging off the train, and Captain America saves him. The guy thanks him, but he says, don't thank me yet. I'm just need you to tell me how to defuse the bomb. And he says, I know I'm going to survive this explosion, will you? Then we cut to Agent 13 and Steve Rogers talking on a roof where she's saying, you've been reckless, and talks about all the damage that he did while he was stopping the train and the fact that he was willing to kill. He's just become more violent since the Red Skull got away from him. And then out of the blue, he just says, you know what I see when I dream? It's still 1944. I see the war. All those men he could have saved, he says. And Sharon Carter asks him, did you say to Nick Fury you wanted to join the space program? He says, no, I just thought about all the men that died and figured that's what I was made for. I should have been the one taking the risks. Then Sharon basically asks him how he likes his new house and the hollow wall that keeps it private. So I guess that's just to set up something that's going to happen there later in the series anyway, because it seems very obvious. But what I don't get is Captain America still goes through the wall even though there's a guy passing by him. I mean, okay, so why have the hollow wall blocking where you actually live if you're going to go through it when every Tom, Dick, and Harry, or in a position every Tom, Dick, and Harry can see you do it? Just doesn't make sense. And of course, the guy's a spy. And so we do see that there are security measures to get into Steve Rogers' house, and we're still hearing the voice of Red Skull, and he's saying, I could kill you anytime, but that would be too easy, which, oh, come on. Blam! He's done. And the Red Skull asks Captain America, what would we be, one without the other? It's time to find out. He picks up the cosmic cube at the same time he gets a call from the general, who says, yeah, I'm still not trading it. And then he says, yes, I know you're a powerful man. And the Skull, a little bit agitated, says, but the time of your power making a difference is coming to an end. What? You're sorry I feel that way. Is that a threat, General? Maybe you're more of a fool than I... Was is... And we see that he's been shot through the chest. Cut to a mysterious man ziplining across buildings. He opens the window, walks in, and picks up the cosmic cube. Mission accomplished, General. The cube is yours. The Red Skull? No. No trouble at all, sir. And we see that he's been killed by the Winter Soldier. Got him in the crosshairs and took the shot. Yes, sir. Absolutely. He's dead. Written by Ed Brubaker and drawn by Steve Epting. And there you go. That's the first appearance of the Winter Soldier. Of course, we don't know him as the Winter Soldier yet. We do see the metal arm, so we get that he's the guy in the tube. But this is one hell of a story. In issue number 2, this is all about the investigation into the Red Skull's murder, and the Winter Soldier doesn't even make a cameo appearance. In issue 3... we find out from the Union Jack that someone has been killing all of Red Skull's men. And then we get a Winter Soldier cameo at the end where he actually kills Jack Monroe. Issue number 4 is a very good issue, by the way. I'm enjoying the whole story out of time. But as far as books go, so far this one is my favorite. The main story has the Winter Soldier trying to psych out Captain America by destroying the tombstone of previous Captain Americas, or the ones that took over when he disappeared. But Winter Soldier does make a cameo to the point where we see his face. As we catch up to Sharon Carter here, she's walking through this abandoned building, and boom, he takes her out. Now, okay, I say we see the side of his face. We don't get a full-on reveal, or I would have stopped it right here. but still, there's a couple more issues of the Winter Soldier to go. Issue number 5, Out of Time Part 5. In this issue, we find out who the arms dealer was, and Nick Fury's suspicious that this is the man that took out the Red Skull. He brings up the name of a Russian village, and this is the crux of this particular issue, where Captain America is just relaying the story of how he, Bucky, and a whole bunch of American troops came into the village one day and had a big old battle, where at one point the Nazi super soldier came out to play. And while the Winter Soldier doesn't make an appearance, we do find out that Nick Fury has a file on him and knows a lot more than what he's letting on, because he says he wants to make 100% sure before he destroys Captain America's world. And that leads us to issue 6, Out of Time Part 6, where we're getting the Winter Soldier right here on the cover. Of course, I guess at this point back then, you didn't know exactly the identity of the guy, but there you go. The book opens up as we see the Winter Soldier with Jack Monroe right next to him, and he's saying, yes, the Patsy is here, and okay, I do have the shield woman, and I will take care of her according to orders. And then it cuts to Nick Fury talking to one of his agents who used to have a relationship with Sharon, and he is very, very worried, takes a little tone with him. Of course, Nick Fury's got to smack that crap down right away. And when Nick Fury is asked, well, does Captain America know that Sharon Carter's missing? Nick Fury says, no, he's got a lot on his mind already, and I don't want him to know about it until we've already found her. Cut to Captain America, just off the English Channel. And we soon find out that what Cap's doing there is he's exploring the castle where Zemo had him and Bucky tied down, and this is basically where he died and where Bucky had died. And while exploring the castle, he's attacked by real Nazi soldiers, not able to believe it, so he figures, okay, I gotta get out of here. He makes his way for the windows, of course blocking the bullets as best he can, and he throws a shield behind him and realizes, of course, they're not here, and he realizes, wait a second, somebody's manipulating. It's the Cosmic Cube. Whoever's holding the Cosmic Cube right now is manipulating my memories. Not only, of course, forcing him to hallucinate, but also changing certain bits about the memories, like maybe they heard something from someone else, and it's not exactly how Steve Rogers remembers things. And that's when whoever's holding the cube makes him relive the moment that Bucky had died, as he's yelling, wait, it's probably booby-trapped. Oh, I'm losing my grip. I see it. Oh, God, Cap, it's gonna blow. Drop off, Bucky. Let go. I can't. I'm stuck. And as Steve Rogers falls, he sees the plane blow up. And Steve just wonders aloud, why is he being forced to relive this? Why is he being forced to have this part of his past back? And as he gets into the jet, he gets a vision of Sharon Carter being held hostage, and he tells the guy, you've got to get us to America as fast as possible. So when they arrive back in New York, Captain America calls Nick Fury and says, Sharon Carter's been captured. Nick says, I know. He says, I know where she is. Captain America says she knows where he is. And Nick Fury says, just tell me where you are. I'll send a team. And he says, well, I couldn't communicate because we were flying at top speed, but I'm here now. Nick Fury tries to give him some information, but Captain's like, hey, we don't have time right now. And that's where this page ends. And this is where we get another just about 2 pages worth of awesome sequential storytelling art. I love it. And it shows us, exactly how badass Captain America can be. He makes it over to Sharon Carter and rips the tape off her mouth. And she's like, wait, it's a setup. And he goes, I know, don't worry about it. And she's like, no, you don't understand. The guy who took me, I've seen him. I think it's Bucky. And ladies and gentlemen, the real first appearance of the Winter Soldier. Not some guy in a tube, not a shadow. Boom. Bucky is the Winter Soldier right here, ladies and gentlemen. He's like, I got the shot, I could take him out, but the general says, no, don't, no matter what your personal feelings are. And he's like, it isn't about feelings. He's going to be a problem. He's really good. and the general tells him, just do the mission you came there for. And next we see Nick Fury, and he's looking through the file, and he obviously knows this is Bucky, when Tapper gives him a call and said, we found a body with a bomb just like the one from the other day. Nick Fury's like, get out of there, and of course it goes off. And I really have to give it to the colorist on this. I mean, the art's been great all throughout this storyline, you can tell, but I mean, this is just a beautiful page. It really is, isn't it? Of course, Sharon Carter's telling him, hey, look, this is why they wanted you here. But damn, I mean, that's just something you can look at right here. This is almost flawless. I'm not a big fan of the slanting thing with the art there or with the panels, but overall, freaking perfect. And then we cut to the general's plane and his partner saying, stop it, Alec. Shut it down. You'll kill us both. Don't be a fool, Leon. I know what I'm doing. What you're doing is insane, old friend. You've put us all at risk with this act. No, there is no risk. They may know my hand is in this, but they're Americans, remember. And we are a very wealthy and influential corporation. They will demand proof before they even begin to question us. And by that time, my game will be over, and it will be far, far too late. I added in a different far for, dramatic effect. So there you go, gang. The first appearance and the deaths of Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. So what do you think? There's a pretty much a good rule here for me. If you notice when I'm not telling a lot of jokes, when I don't have a lot of the Mr. Miracles popping up around and interrupting the story, that you should know it's a good book because I'm just reading through it. This, on the other hand, I knew it was going to be a long video. Like when I started, it was an hour and I had to cut everything down to make it, palatable. It's an amazing story. If you have not read the trade paperbacks, get the trade paperbacks because the Winter Soldier itself is all the way up to like issue 14 or 15 of this series. That's the whole story. So this is just part one, and it is, in my opinion, one of the best things that Marvel has ever produced. Easily, hands down. Now, once again, I've got to thank Christy Miller for commissioning this video, and if you want, just go on over to Ko-Fi, and that's where you commission whatever video you want to do, whatever character, storyline, whatever team, whatever object, and any of these categories you see. I'm going to start adding on for my Disney Channel and for the Extreme Movie Show as well. It's a lot of fun doing this because I don't know who or what I'm going to be talking about when I get a Ko-Fi commission. So please go on over and give that a shot. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you haven't done it already. That's all that YouTube really cares about. Please share because YouTube has strangled my channel. They are shadow banning me. So they're not sharing it, and when they do share it, they share it with things like little kids playing with toys and people who just aren't interested in comic book channels. Anyway, thank you to everyone who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.